Hey guys, this is Zeals. I hope you did not get too scared from that intro. I did have a lot of fun making it. Anyways, guys, we've been waiting a long time and it's been hyped to all hell, so let's get into it. So let's talk about the new hero Belrain as well as Mihm, and we're gonna discuss the events as well as the rewards in the second half of this video. I want to keep this very light and very short. I could actually talk for like an hour about the two new heroes, but I want to keep it very simple. Before I start, I want to give credit to the guy. I don't want to pronounce his name, but I want to give credit where it's due. He did data mine some of the heroes' passes and actives yesterday, the day before the launch of the events. And from what I read and what I saw, it was everything that Almivore needed. Basically, Mihm had crit in this passive. He also was immune to OCC. He had not only an energy reduce, a drain, but also he would steal it and give himself energy, meaning that every 3 rounds he'd be able to do 2 actives without the use of energy artifact. He also had high speed, and from the passive, the way it was read was that when he died, he gained 200% damage. But if you also look at the trailers, which is in my other video, when he did attack, it would kill the enemy, and if the enemy died, there was this ticking damage. So it was kind of guessed that the last passive was if a hero died, right, then it would tick the damage. Anyways, we're going to talk about that later. A little disappointed with Belrain. Quite honestly, like if you watch the trailer as much as most people have on this Reddit, when she was taking damage, the attraction was that she acted like Gurk as well as Scary or Scary, whatever you want to call him. When she took damage, she gained this attack buff that you could see in the video, and the more damage she took, she was able to release and retaliate. And of course, I was expecting a little bit less speed because of this factor, but not only did she lose that, and instead of gaining 30% HP passive as well as 30% attack as it was data mine, they changed it later on to more attack, but they dropped the holy damage, which is very, very sad. I'm going to get into this later, as well as they dropped that stacking attack buff, and they also nerfed her last passive before releasing it. Anyways, let's go into the heroes, the live heroes right now. So looking at Mihm, we're gonna go from his active and backwards. Alright, so the active was from 350 damage percent at 10 star, but it is now 400%. It hits 1 random enemy, so if it hits the front line, it CCs pretty much and reduces armor, which is icing on top, as well as petrifies the background, the back heroes if it targets the back heroes. And in doing so, reduces attack by 30% as well as speed for 3 rounds. Now the armor reduction and the speed reduction as well as the attack reduction, those are fine. They're just pretty much icing on top, but what mostly people are concerned about is the damage. But while it does sound like it's a colossal amount of damage, we have to look at all its toolkits. So let's look at his first passive. First passive increases his HP by 40%, reduced damage by 30%, which is sad because if you watch the videos, the freaky trailer I made, the thing that Armorborn needed was passive crit, just like Faithblade. And while the data mine data showed that it had passive crit, I was so happy about that. But the live version, although it does not have the crit, it has reduced damage. Now it does fill its role, and we're going to explain that later in his last passive. I'll take it. But what is his first weakness right off the bat? There is no attack boost in his first passive. From the stat boosts, there is no attack boost, guys. So when I talk about the HP boost as well as the attack boost, I'm mostly talking about the multiplicative aspect, as well as when you stack with the pet stats as well as the aura, it is multiplicative there, so it's not going to be affected just like Faithblade does not have attack. But Faithblade still, you know, is affected because not as much affected because of the holy damage. Anyways, getting back to the hero, speed is great, crowd immunity 100% beautiful. We're going to talk about that later. Alright, so the second passive, basic attack, targets the enemy with the lowest HP. I'm not really a big fan of that. Anyways, it deals 140% and also reduces energy by 60. It's no longer a steal. 60 is a nice amount because of the amount of AoE damage that enemy heroes take, so they're able to quickly ramp up its energy. For example, when DA only steals or takes away 30 energy, it's not that crippling, because most heroes are getting hit 2 or 3 times before it's their turn to attack. Anyways, that is another story. So let's talk about his last passive, where his bread and butter is at. So Mihm, last passive, whenever the keyword any hero died, well, it says died, but it's dies, it deals 200% of its attack damage to all enemies each round, lasting 2 rounds. Alright, damage to enemies each round. So I'm gonna have a lot of clips to show you guys this. So if you kill one enemy or one ally, it deals certain amount of damage. If let's say 2 or 3 dies in the battlefield and at the end of the round, it's gonna ramp up and do more damage. Okay, so looking at his core stats, he has no crit, he has no attack boost. I mean, he does have solid base attack. His HP is not bad. So they're in the current meta, right? When people are transitioning from full 10-star to which is now the mid game now, guys, which is pretty sad. Anyways, which is the mid game to the late end game, which is the full E3 meta. At the current moment, if you are able to build an E3 Mihm and you have gotten enough copies, I fully recommend it because you are going to smash 10-star teams. Well, anybody could say this about any E3 hero. E3 Faithblade, of course, that little funny clip of an E3 Bade struggling to finish off a 10-star team. Mihm's going to do it faster and cleaner and in a hilarious manner, and you could pretty much cheese it like the clips are showing you, in multiple ways, incorporating Destroyer, Emily, any attack buffs like even Belrain or Rosa. It's just going to make it a big laugh fest for you or your enemy, whatever. All right. So while you can build him for attack currently, when you transition into the E3 meta, his last passive not going to do enough damage to fully wreck your enemy team. These two new heroes, they are pretty balanced. They're good, okay? Don't get me wrong, they're great. They do serve a purpose, but I can see them toning down these heroes. Like, since King Barton, like the way the heroes are designed are pretty much just chipping away each round, even including Valentino. All right, we're going to discuss about him in a little bit, but I just noticed that they're just introducing these heroes and not too bursty. They're just more like they have these passives that, like King Barton, when he takes damage, he retaliates by counterattacking. Same thing with Mihm and Belrain. She's not that spectacular. I mean, of course, she's a light and dark hero, but to be quite honest, I was a lot more hyped up in my previous videos. But I think that developers are recognizing their mistake with Faithblade. I mean, they don't even offer that many copies of Faithblade. They offer 2 ever since its release. Other than the Christmas event, the only way you could have obtained them was through that paywall in the Chinese New Year after spending about multiple hundreds of dollars, or from the Alter Exchange. Other than that, you had to pretty much get lucky in that Christmas event to get the multiple copies you needed, or maybe you got freakishly lucky. Let me tell you, we spent over 3,400 scrolls and we did not get a single Faithblade or Armor Bore. Right? Not that we needed the Armor Bore, but that's just what I'm trying to tell you guys. We did get about 7 Mihms and about 3 or 4 Belrains, over 3,400 scrolls, guys. We're not including the any rewards or the shop at the moment. So as you transition back into the topic of going to the full E3 meta, he's going to be in a role of either a CC or surviving, right? And there are plenty of ways to survive in the E3 meta, which I will discuss in a little few minutes. So what do you mean by CC? So because he does target the front line, he's able to petrify, and most people are going to run most of their damage threatening units in the first 2 slots. Well, I do feel that people will transition are starting to transition them into the back line, but we have to watch and wait and see because of Mihm as well as Belrain. But in terms of CC, it is too it is too random. Like if you want to shut down a Faith Blade with Mihm, you have a 1 in 6 chance to target him, right? And it's just not worth it, to be honest, to go into the Speed Stone with the energy artifact. Of course, it is a viable option, but if I had an E3 Mihm at the end game meta, I would mostly build him for damage reduction and trying to keep him as alive as long as possible, like Valentino, because of the overload passive as well as Mihm's last passive, Shadow Fission. All right. So I want to keep him alive, and I want to stack Attack Stone. I don't really care about his speed or the CC. Those are icing on top. I'd rather have him actually use his basic attack in round 1 to do the energy steal. The problem with Armorvore was that because it's scaled with energy artifacts, for example, if you had two allies who were skilled with energy artifacts, Armorvore would never do his basic attack doing his energy steal. So that energy steal was pretty much not that useful. Of course, it had its moments, but it's not as reliable as, for example, Mihm. And Mihm is control immune target or unit, so he is very reliable. He's gonna always charge up your pets, just like Michelle does. And he's pretty much like a Michelle in terms of being able to constantly do his job of doing damage. He can CC, he can energy steal, as well as do some burst damage. And he also puts a lot of pressure on your opponents. Okay, we're talking a lot of pressure. If you're going to run him in a Rainbow Comp, Mihm, DH, Valentino, end of the round, Poison, Overload, as well as his Shadow Fission, they're not all ticking like separately. They're all calculated and bunched into one number, so you'll see this constantly ticking pressure at the end of the round. He is pretty much the new Snake Wolf pet, you know, the dots at the end of the round. Of course, there are ways to counter this in the E3 meta. Is it going to be hard? No, it's going to put a lot of pressure. It's going to be a lot of consistent damage. It's not too bursty. It is dealable. All right, that is my initial impression of him. I've seen a lot of clips of him fighting against 10-star teams, but against almost full E3 E3 teams, I'm noticing him not doing as much damage. All right, so even if he does 1 or 1.5 million damage ticks at the end of the round, it is not enough. Okay, and as model currently, E3 as model is fully supported, is able to one-shot Mihm as right now. So Mihm does need a lot of support to work. Okay, hint hint, Faith Blade. Of course, he synergizes well with Faith Blade. All right, so he does have that snowball effect, which the Armorvore was missing. All right, so those are 3 things I've discussed already about Armorvore, which were flaws that Mihm had a potential to fix. 1, Armorvore did not have a snowball effect. 2, Armorvore was not able to steal energy in round 1 because most teams had at least two energy artifacts, and Armorvore would retaliate attack after the 2 actives, meaning he had 50 energy plus 60, as well as number 3, he is control immune, right? Armorvore was suffering from too much CCs like stuns, petrify, frozen. Not too much of extent of frozen, but he was just too prone to stuns as well as petrify. So Mihm is the only way you could probably see soft CC him is by a DA or Mihm himself targeting Mihm and stealing or reducing his energy. Alright, in terms of PvE, Mihm is able to do some work for you, especially for Marauders. He's going to strip armor for a broken space as well. But for guild bosses, he is able to do some energy steal, and it did bump up the guild damage by about a couple million. He's not very a reliable source. He's just like pretty much Grey Eye or Grey Eye 2.0, right? He's able to steal energy more than any other hero in round 1, and he's able to do it very well. He also reduces armor for frontline targets, as well as reducing attack in the backline, which is also helpful. And when your ally hero dies, he's able to do that pulsating damage, which is helpful in the later, higher up guild bosses. But is he like required in PvE right now? Not so much. Okay. So we'll discuss that in another video. Let's go to the next hero, which is Belrain. All right. So I was pretty hyped for Belrain. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, her artwork is pretty good. Her skin is amazing. When Belrain does cast, it does look like it does look a little funny because you can't see her shoes. Anyways, I want to keep this video short. Let's go into the skills. Active skill, 108% attack damage to all enemies, and it gives the backline allies 30% attack as well as speed. Emily 2.0, pretty much, but a little bit more for 3 rounds. What's the problem? Right off the bat, active. It's not enough damage. It's not enough damage, and the 108% attack is just way too low. I feel that she is in a dire need of some kind of overhaul or buff. What she's missing. Okay, we're gonna discuss that after we cover her passives. First passive, HP increased by 30%, same as the data mine data, as well as attack by 45%. So instead of giving her full holy damage, they gave her attack. So holy damage was a little bit harder for the developers to balance because it goes through armor as well as reduction of damage. So they're trying to stay, like, I feel that they're trying to stay away from the bursty, the one-shot KO combo. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do that with Fate Play still rolling around, but anyways, we'll discuss that as the meta keeps progressing. Alright, so the second passive is basic attack, heals 3 random allies for 220% attack, HP lasting 3 rounds. Pretty much a hot like Vesa, but it is 100% more attack. The thing about Vesa is that when she does a basic attack, she gains 30% attack, and it does last for 3 rounds, which is able to be ramped up. Alright, so it's pretty comparable, but when Belrain is silenced, she is still able to heal. That is a good thing. But is it going to, change the entire meta? Not. Is it overpowered pretty much? No. Alright, last passive, after death, heals all allies for 300% of her attack, which is pretty high. HP for 5 rounds, and while the video showed that in 1 round it would pulsate and heal, and the heal multiplied, like it would do, let's say for example 40k heal when she died, and then in the same round it would do 80k, and it pulsated about 3 times in the video, in the trailer. But okay, I guess the trailer was just off its mark. And let's look at all her stats, and her speed stands out immediately. She has no holy damage, she has no CC immune to anything, she has no crit damage, she has no reduced damage, and it's just, I just don't understand what they were thinking. I have to be a little pessimistic here, to be honest. I mean, she is way too slow. First of all, she's slower than IB, and most people have phased him out, so she's gonna be prone to CC. And even if people build her with speed and energy artifact, there is no point doing so, because first of all, she has no CC. So when, like, for example, Michelle, you will build her for speed as well as give her an energy artifact because she has CC. Belrain does not have CC. Belrain has no CC protection. She just doesn't really stand out to me. I mean, I can see where she falls in the meta. Like an E3 Vesa at the end of the round, after having a couple attack buffs, is able to heal for 1.1 to 1.3 million health per all your allies at the end of the round. And I guess with Belrain as well as Cruz, as well as having Michelle, it is, and the E3 passive, or the skill you gain, which is 50% missing health at the end of the round, it is able to neutralize threats like Mihm, as well as any other passive attacks or damage over time from Valentino DH or King Barton. I can see the Belrain Vesa and the E3, the heal, as well as Deer, and the amount of the changes in the health pool can help negate these constantly sustained damage. I can see that happening, but she's not really reliable. Like, she is a light hero and she's not really able to get these off. Like, okay, so if she's silenced, yeah, she can still pretty much dot some people, but then if she's CC'd, like petrified or stunned, like, I need her to die then, which is pretty sad because she's not going to get to use her active, and without using her active, she's not really fulfilling the support fully as well. Like, the thing about Emily was that you could still build her speed, and she had a lot more speed than Belrain. So Belrain does not really have like this congruent, she's not a melded or well put together hero. Anyways, guys, those are my initial assessment. I think I left out some of the other details that I want to talk about. But for now, I just want to keep it short. It's already been like 20 minutes. And as far as the event, the artifact, yeah, it is the fastest speed artifact. But is it worth that 3,500 coins? As for a guy who, like a player who wants to have 7 copies of each hero, like what I learned from last Faith Blade on Omnivore was like when I was like I shouldn't even have bought the skin, to be honest. Like I should have just fully went all Faith Blade, right? I regret that decision so much. Like I should just like Antlers, yeah, Antlers was great. And then what did they come out with? Staff, right? Which pretty much just destroyed it. And then precision change and blah 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 blah. And like most of my FTA, teammates, we have dropped Antlers like months ago. Like we stopped using that. We don't even have room for that. Like you mean we will use one of the damage reduction artifact, the staff, as well as 4 energy artifacts, right? So we don't really have room. Do I want to recommend this artifact? Yeah, it's really well geared towards Belrain as well as Mihm, because it has not only speed but it has attack tied into it. And both these heroes, attack is very important more than crit, because for example, Mim's last passive doesn't crit, and Belrain, like crit's not gonna, like she can't be like, she doesn't do that much damage like Vesa, so you don't really need to build her for crit. You either have to build her for speed or attack. So the artifact does work for both of them, but in the end, is it worth like the potential cost of a hero? I mean, if you're super whale, you're gonna get it anyways. But if you're like a dolphin and you have to decide either get your 6th or 7th copy or the artifact, it's up to you. Personally, I'm not getting that artifact, even though there is a slight speed. Even if there's 1 speed advantage, of course, it is going to work against you if you don't have one. If this is on a Kameth or another DH, right? They're gonna strike first, no matter what, even if it's 1 speed faster, and it is faster than the Wind God as well as the orange exclusive artifacts. Speaking of orange exclusive artifacts, these it's just becoming more and more obsolete by the day. Anyways, the artifact, I know it's pretty good. Is it game changing? Is it like broken like the staff? Like staff is completely broken. Like the introduction of staff, those new heroes like Faith Blade Armor Bore, as well as Celestial 6-star stones really changed the burst from like 0 to 60 in like 10 seconds to 0 to 60 in like 1 second, right? And I can see it, like the subtle, like the magic sword. It's a slight upgrade, or sometimes a downgrade depending on if you need the HP or attack. Same thing with this speed artifact. It's pretty good, but is it going to is it like godlike? Is it broken? Is it like, oh my god, you gotta get it? To be honest, for me, it's not for me, because I'm going to focus on everything on those heroes. Like if I literally can't buy another hero, I may go for the skin. But speaking of the skin, guys, like, did you notice that the Mihm skin, like, what? It has crit and crit damage. Like like if it was the initial before the release stat of where Mihm had 30% crit, and the crit would have been pretty nice. But then, as you saw from that last passive, like, he doesn't really need crit either. They're just not, it's just something's missing with both these heroes, and that's why they're not screaming overpowered. They are pretty balanced. Currently, of course, they're broken when you're fighting against 10 stars. But yeah, that's my assessment for now. As far as the event, I was not really paying attention today. I was really busy with work and coming up with this video. So if you guys know how long we'll be getting these coins, is it 2 weeks or is it just 1 week and we have another week to decide? Is it going to be dropping in the campaign next week? That's what I want to know. Like, is the daily bonus for 2 weeks, or is it just 7 days? If you already know, if you guys have done the math or something like that of how much average you're getting per day, leave a comment below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.